From an artificial intelligence takeover to another lethal pandemic, here are the top 5 scary end-of-the-world prophecies that might come true soon. Number 5 on this list is the rise of artificial intelligence. The moon in the full of night over the high mountain, the new sage with a lone brain sees it. By his disciples invited to be immortal, eyes to the south, hands in bosoms, bodies in the fire. That was a poem from the one and only Nostradamus. Probably the most famous prophesizer of all time, if that's even a thing. Nostradamus was a French astrologer and seer and is most known for his work called the Prophecies, where he pops the heck off and prophesizes pretty much the entire world's future. This poetic quatrain that I read is from that book, and people believe it to be in reference to artificial intelligence taking over. Right now, AI is definitely the craze. Pretty much any billionaire who's anybody is currently investing insane amounts of money into AI, thinking it'll be the way of the future. At the same time though, a lot of them are coming out and warning us about how dangerous this could be when AI is able to get consciousness. Well, in this poem, Nostradamus says the new sage with a lone brain sees it, and people think that's in reference to AI getting consciousness. This is the new sage and it can only know. Then he goes on to say that there are bodies in the fire and all that jazz, and that just really doesn't sound like a fun time at all. Experts still think that we're a ways away from getting AI to reach full consciousness, but they're pretty much all in agreement that it's going to happen one day. They're also pretty much in agreement that computers and robots will be smarter than humans because they can just take in more information and process data way quicker than we would ever be able to. Comment down below when you think AI is going to start causing serious problems for humans. Is it in 2022 or do we still have a bit more time left? Number 4 on this list is the Rapture. The Rapture is another one of those doomsday predictions that's been thrown around for what seems like ever. According to Wikipedia, the Rapture is an eschatological theological position held by some Christians, particularly within branches of American evangelicalism, consisting of an end-time event when all Christian believers who are alive, along with resurrected believers, would rise in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. Basically what this means is that for those devout Christian followers, life is going to get pretty awesome, but for everyone else, life on Earth is going to suck. People have speculated that the Earth would turn into a hell-like place where demons roam the streets. As you can probably imagine, this would be pretty bad and wouldn't be the greatest existence ever. The Rapture has been discussed as a possibility for years now, but the most recent claim has it pegged for 2028. Granted, this is always changing, and it feels like at any given year, someone is prophesizing that the Rapture could be coming. At this rate, it feels like it could come tomorrow, but nobody really knows. If the Rapture was to happen though, no reason to think that 2022 couldn't be the year. Number 3 is an asteroid. Now, an asteroid hitting Earth has been talked about as a potential doomsday world-ending scenario for pretty much as long as we've been aware of asteroids. We've talked a lot about this on this channel before, and depending on the size of asteroid, the entire planet could be totally wiped out. In fact, this has gotten some more attention in pop culture recently with the movie Don't Look Up. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, the whole movie is about a massive asteroid coming to Earth and potentially killing all of us if it hits. Well, according to the Messiah Foundation International, we only have a few years left before this becomes a sad and terrifying reality. 2026 is the year to mark on the calendar, folks, only 4 years from now. Riaz Ahmad Gohar Shadi was a spiritual leader who's credited with starting up the Messiah Foundation International. He wrote a book called The Religion of God, and in that book he's predicted 2026 as being the year the world is going to get hit with a massive celestial object. This object would be big enough to destroy the whole planet and all life on Earth. Now, I looked into this prophecy, and from what I found, I think we should be okay. Most experts who study space think that we have quite some time before we need to start worrying about such things. The closest thing that we're currently aware of is an asteroid called 2010 RF12. This is apparently the asteroid with the highest probability of hitting Earth, with about a 5% chance of doing so. However, this also isn't supposed to occur until 2095, giving us plenty of time to prepare. Now, I'm gonna be honest, who really knows with this stuff? Space is pretty crazy and we're learning new things every day. Maybe there is an asteroid we're unaware of, or that scientists haven't revealed to the public that's coming to Earth, and for that reason I suppose that this prophecy might happen. But if it does, then at least we still have 4 years to plan for it, and hopefully we'll just avoid it altogether. Number 2 on this list is World War III. This is something that hasn't just been prophesized by one person, but by multiple. However, if we did want to put this on one guy, then our main man Nostradamus is back at it again because he's been noted as predicting a third world war in 2022. A great article by the Daily Record talks about this possibility when they write, "There are serious concerns over a possible global war in the coming year, and one possible cause could be the ongoing tensions between China and Taiwan. The incursions from nuclear-capable Chinese warplanes has ratcheted up tensions over the tiny US-backed island. Relations between the two nations are at the worst in 40 years, Taiwan's defense minister said at the end of last year. Western allies of Taiwan have expressed their concern at China's open display of military might, and it's widely feared any form of armed confrontation could quickly escalate into a global conflict. Meanwhile, Russia has reportedly approved plans for urgent mass graves amid fears a war could break out after an invasion of Ukraine. Russian outlet MK say that the burial sites were constructed as a priority after they allegedly appeared on leaked legal documents that are expected to come into force on February 1st. Those are just some of the possible scenarios where something major could start, but there are also tons of other areas in the world in disarray right now where I could see something horrible taking place. All it would require is a few frustrated people deciding to push the button, and then bam, we're at a place of no return and might damage our planet beyond repair. Hopefully all of this won't come to fruition, and those who have the power to send us into war will exercise their power to also keep us out of it. Number 1 on this list is a lethal virus. Known as the Nostradamus of the Balkans, the blind mystic Baba Vanga has some very scary things coming in 2022 for humans. One of the worst ones, and probably most triggering at this point, is a massive lethal virus attacking Earth. After several years of being in a pandemic, I think it's safe to say that humans are pretty tired of lethal diseases. Baba Vanga isn't holding back on us though, and she expects this one to be really bad. It's apparently going to come from Siberia and will all start due to global warming. Now this honestly might not be that far off at all, which makes it that much more scarier. Guarantee BBVA writes, in August 2016, in a remote corner of Siberian tundra called the Yamal Peninsula in the Arctic Circle, an individual died and at least 20 people were hospitalized after being infected by anthrax. The theory is that over 75 years ago, a reindeer infected with anthrax died and its frozen carcass became trapped under a layer of frozen soil known as permafrost. There it stayed until a heat wave in the summer of 2016 when the permafrost thawed. This exposed the reindeer corpse and released infectious anthrax into nearby water and soil and then into the food supply. More than 2,000 reindeer grazing nearby became infected, which then led to the small number of human cases. The fear is that this will not be an isolated case. As the Earth warms, more permafrost will melt. Under normal circumstances, superficial permafrost layers about 50 centimeters deep melt every summer. But now global warming is gradually exposing older permafrost layers. Frozen permafrost soil is the perfect place for bacteria to remain alive for very long periods of time, perhaps as long as 1,000,000 years. That means melting ice could potentially open up a Pandora's box of diseases. So Baba Vanga might sadly be onto something here, and that could just be horrible. There could be diseases that are frozen that we just don't know anything about and might absolutely ravage the population. Honestly guys, we just need to pray that our immunities can hold up if something like this did ever happen. Well, there you have it folks, that is our list of the top 5 scary end of world prophecies that might come true pretty soon. Please comment down below what you thought about this list and some other prophecies that you're potentially worried about. Also please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host Nicholas Playlog, and I'll catch you next time.